So this one is picking up steam every second that passes by. James Harden is getting upset in Houston, like right now. And he has officially, according to Shams over at The Athletic, I don't need to go into a big deep dive of reporters that you should trust. Shams is one of the best out there. Apparently, James Harden has let it be known to that Houston Rockets organization that not only does he want out, he wants to go to either Philly or the Brooklyn Nets. Those are the two teams atop James Harden list that he would like to play for. Now, let me just explain this to guys, the people who don't follow this stuff as closely as I do. The Rockets don't have to trade James Harden. James Harden has many years left on his contract. They just gave him a new deal a couple years ago. Like, the Rockets have the leverage in regards to they don't have to do anything with James Harden. If they just want to keep him there and bring him back next year, what you going to do about it? Well, here's what Harden could do about it. He could just express his displeasure. The NBA is not like the NFL. In the NFL, you say you want out, your team might get rid of you. Move on from you. You're not that important to the puzzle unless you're a quarterback. In the NBA, when you're one of those guys, and James Harden is one of those 10 to 12, 14 guys that literally can change a team's trajectory from winning 30 games to winning 50 games, obviously if he's unhappy and he's frustrated, they got a new coach and Steven Silas, who I'm sure they want to get off on the right foot. Daryl Morey's gone. If he's unhappy in that organization, it could get ugly. And not to mention, it looks like Russell Westbrook is not the happiest that he's ever been, as reports are surfacing that he's asked the Houston Rockets to move him this offseason, or what's left of it, as training camp gets started in a couple weeks here. Things are going to happen quickly. Yeah, the Harden one is the one you want to watch out for. We did not expect him to be free this summer, but if he is unhappy, the two teams, just breaking down why Brooklyn and Philly are on his short list. Philadelphia is there because, James Harden and Daryl Morey are close friends. If you don't know who Daryl Morey is, he is the GM. He was the GM of the Houston Rockets. He's the guy that pulled off all those trades that saw Dwight Howard go join James, and then we saw Chris Paul come to Houston and join James, and last year Russell Westbrook go to Houston and join James. That was the gentleman that pulled all those trades off. He was the believer in small ball. He's also the guy that cost the NBA a lot of money with China. But nevertheless, James Harden and Daryl Morey are extremely close. Morey stepped down a couple weeks ago, and he said he was going to take a year off to go be with his kids. He actually ended up taking another position in Philly, the GM role there. So he's right back in the swing of things. And, Harden probably just wants to go be with his guy. It's the guy that he trusts. I'm sure they're in constant communication. If Daryl Morey can pull off a trade for James Harden, he'll do it to pair him up with Joel Embiid. Obviously, the trade that everybody sees out there is Ben Simmons and Josh Richardson for James Harden. That's the one that everybody's talking about. And whatever else Philly would need to do to get the deal done. That's the trade that everybody sees. That way you be pairing James Harden, who wants to be on the ball, with the guy in Ben Simmons who wanted to be on the ball but he can't shoot, with Joel Embiid, and you can still have Tobias Harris in the mix, a guy who doesn't need to be on the ball to get his. That is the reports. That's what's going on in Philly. From Brooklyn's perspective, the Nets, they're just a city that James Harden would like to play basketball in. Brooklyn, James Harden's a fashion guy. He's got a brand. He's one of the more prospering brands in the NBA right now. And Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are there. Now, we'll talk about in a different video, if you're Kyrie Irving, if you're Kevin Durant, do you want to play with James Harden? We'll talk about that later. I'm sure Steve Nash and that organization, they're in contact with their stars to see if they want to do this, because that's just a lot of dribbling. All right, that's a lot of ISO ball if you bring in James Harden into that mix. But, again, we understand why Houston would be interested in a trade like that. That's one of the trades that, to me, right now, that's one of the trades where they can get the best overhaul for Harden. That's a trade where you can get Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, and whatever is not named KD and Kyrie over to Houston. So I think there's a good overhaul for the Rockets there. But I don't know if they really want to trade James Harden right now. You got to believe they don't want to, but this thing is picking up steam. Again, as breaking news, James Harden has let it be known to the Rockets that his two teams that he would like to be moved to are the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously, you just want to make sure you're following me on all my platforms here on YouTube at HoopsFerro, Facebook at HoopsFerro. This one is updating minute by minute. Make sure you turn on my notifications, and I'll let you know if and when there is a move for James Harden, as he has let it be known to Houston he wants out. And with that being said, I'm out.